I'm honored to have you here, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Greetings, viewers. Get ready to immerse yourself in the world of Zheng Zhenduo in this video. Zheng Zhenduo, December 19, 1898, October 17, 1958, was a Chinese journalist, writer, archaeologist, and scholar. He made a significant contribution towards the establishment of the Chinese literature and the editing of a variety of literary magazines. In 1921, he, Mao Dun, Jiang Baili, Geng Jizhi, and others organized the Literary Study Society. In 1923, he became the chief editor of Fiction Monthly. In addition, he in succession participated in editing Min Chao, Xin Shehui, Wenxue Xunkan. In late 1931, he became a professor at both Yenching University and Tsinghua University, the president of Faculty of Arts and the director of Chinese Department of Jinan University. He was also the chief editor of the World's Library at the same time. After the establishment of the People's Republic of China, he was assigned to be head of the Cultural Relic Bureau, director of the Institute of Archaeology of the Chinese Academy of Sciences and Literary Research Institute, the assistant minister of Cultural Department, committee member of State Council Scientific Program Committee and Chinese Academy of Science Philosophical Social Sciences, the vice chairman of Chinese Folk Literature and Art Research Council, and so on. He died in a plane crash in the Soviet Union during his journey in 1958. The spotlight now falls on family as we delve deeper into its details. Zheng Zhenduo was born on 19 December 1898 in Yongjia, Zhejiang Province. His ancestral home was in Chang'an, Fujian Province. He was born in a poor family. Together with two younger sisters, he was raised by his mother because his father and grandfather died when he was still a teenager. He was named Zhenduo by his grandfather. Zhen denotes arousing an action and duo is a kind of big bell. His grandfather wanted him to ring like a great bell to summon and to arouse people. In addition, his grandfather gave him the childhood name Mu Guan, lit. Wooden official. In the upcoming section, we'll be shining a light on schooling. In 1917, Zheng began studying at the Beijing Railway Management School and graduated in March 1921. Beyond classroom, he read a lot of books and developed an enormous interest in social sciences, Chinese literature and Western literature, and thus developed a critical mind. During the May 4th movement, he was a student representative, spreading the news of student movements in Beijing. In 1919, he helped publish two magazines called New Society, Xin Shehui, and National Salvation Speeches Weekly, Jibo Jianji and Zaba. In January 1921, Zheng Zhenduo and 12 others, including Mao Dun and Yenching, founded the earliest literary society of the new literature movement, Literary Research Association, Wenxue Xunkan, also known as the Literary Association, which advocated realism and opposed art for art's sake. Let's now turn our attention to careers throughout his life and examine its role within the larger context. Zheng had been a journalist, a modern writer, archaeology, and a literature scholar throughout his life. In May 1921, Zheng helped set up a drama society called Democratic Opera Troupe, Min's Hong Sijushi, with Mao Dun, Yenching, Chen Dabi, Bo Yongyuan, Zhong Foxi, and other writers. They published a monthly magazine named Drama, Xiju, on 31 May in the same year. In 1922, Zheng established the first magazine for children, Children's World. In January 1923, he became the chief editor of a monthly magazine of novel, Fiction Monthly. After the May 30 incident in 1925, he helped founding a newspaper called Geng Jizhi. From then on, he wrote many books including Zhongzhou Wenkushi, lit. History of Chinese Literature, and 1943 Diary. Zheng had been a scholar giving lectures in universities, a researcher of the academy, and a journalist since 1931. He taught in the Department of Chinese in Yenching University, in Jinan University from 1935 to 1941 as the Dean of Faculty of Arts, and in Peking University since 1953. After 1949, he became the secretary for the Culture Department and Cultural Heritage Department in China. As we venture forward, let's take a closer look at exile to France and its impact on our understanding. In April 1927, Chiang Kai-shek launched a sudden attack on thousands of suspected communists in the area he controlled. Many innocent students and movement activists were killed. Writers, including Zheng, were under political pressure. Therefore, he left his family for France in May 1927. During the years living in Paris, he kept mailing his diary to his wife, which was published as a book named Diary of Travels in Europe, Zheng Zhenduo. Let's now enter the realm of return to China and discover the fascinating stories it has to tell. He continued his journalistic career after coming back to China in 1929 and founded Zhuangruba. In October 1945, he founded a weekly magazine called Democracy to oppose the Civil War and Chiang Kai-shek's pro-American policy. Prepare yourself for an in-depth analysis of cultural preservation in this section. Due to the invasion of Japanese troops, Shanghai was besieged starting from 1937 and many significant cultural assets were lost. In the light of this, Zheng devoted himself to the rescue and protection of aged Chinese documents and antiques. Chen was a founding member of the Shanghai Rare Book Preservation Society and its leader. Disguising himself as a staff member in a stationery store named Chan Sixon, he managed to save many aged books from damage or loss to the outside world. Let's now enter the realm of death and discover the fascinating stories it has to tell. On 17 October 1958, Zheng led national cultural delegates to visit Arabia and Afghanistan. He died in the crash of a Tupolev Tu-104 in Kanish, Chuvashia, Soviet Union during the journey. Let's zoom in on journalism and understand its implications. Zheng started his journalistic career in the URSS during the May 4th movement. Together with some classmates, including Zhong Dao, he got a first taste of editing in starting a publication named Jian. The magazine, being published in Wenzhou for only 6 to 7 times, was closed by the authorities since it enraged a government official. As one of the founders of a youth magazine, Xin Shehui, Zheng aimed at criticizing the Beijing government. It began its publication on 1 November 1919, which consisted of 4 pages. The aims of the magazine was to 1. Advocate the social service. 2. Discuss society problems. 3. Introduce social theories. 4. Research on common people education. 5. Record society matters. 6. Criticize society shortcomings. 7. Narrate society real states. 8. Report news of the organization. Zheng gave many speeches about the student movement in Beijing. On top of criticizing, he wanted to make good use of the new culture movement to publicize and promote new social ideals for the Chinese future development. Zhenduo suggested that Xin Shehui could be edited with a more approachable style accepted by the general public. The magazine was finally published on 1 November 1919 throughout China, arousing tides of attention from the public, especially amongst the young readers. However, as Zheng and his co-editors were still inexperienced in editing by that time, the magazine was thought to be immature in editing and too sloganeered. On the hand, the content of the magazine upset the military side of the government. Thus, in 1 month's time, the government called the publication to halt. In addition, he established Literary Study Society, Wenxue Xunkan with Mao Dun and Yi Xingtai in November 1920. In January 1923, he took over the position of chief editor of Fiction Monthly from Mao Dun. He was the chief editor on and off for nearly 9 years. He advocated a literary advocacy of blood and tears and supported a writing style of realism. In June 1925, he founded a newspaper called Kongli River with Wu Yi and Yi Xingtai in Shanghai. This newspaper was aimed at criticizing the May 30th incident and the rising foreign imperialism in China. Also, he contributed in various newspapers like Jiguo Jianjian Zaoba and Xinyu Bao to awaken Chinese people from old traditions. These articles were mainly about social issues and the evil deeds of the old traditional practices. Zheng wrote articles from different aspects like the liberation of women, morality, social psychology, and the liberation of political power. They all advocated more people to rethink the old values position. Let's now turn our gaze towards translation and explore the fascinating connections it has to offer. Zheng was proficient in foreign languages including English, Russian, Indian languages, Greek and Latin. He did a great job in translating a lot of Russian and Indian literature. Zheng had started translation of Russian literature since earlies. His works included the works, paper and preface of Turgenev 1883, Gogol 1809-1852, Chekhov 1860-1904, Gorky 1868-1936, and Tolstoy 1828-1910. Zheng also translated many Indian literature. He mainly translated the poems as well as the Indian ancient times fables such as Rabindranath Tagore 1861-1941. Zheng had translated a prominent number of Tagore's poems to Chinese since the Urs. In October 1922, he published his translation of Stray Birds. In August 1925, he published the Indian Fable. There were 55 translation works of his in total. Zheng started his study in Greek and Roman literature in his early age. In 1929, he published The Story of Love. Afterwards, he translated heroes of Greek and Roman mythology. Then in 1935, he published a book called Greek Mythology, an analysis of ancient Greek mythology. In a second edition of Greek mythology published after the creation of the People's Republic, his introduction included Karl May's well-known contribution to the critique of political economy. Now, let's shift our perspective and explore literature union through a fresh lens, unlocking new perspectives. As the previous newspapers and magazines were banned by the government, Zheng believed that a proper established literature union would make things run easier. In January 1921, he established Wenxue Xunkan Literary Study Society, which literally means Literature Research Union, with Mao Dun, Yi Shengtai and 12 other people in the related field. The union's first publication was Wenxue Xunkan. It was published along with the well-known newspaper called Shishixinma Current Events newspaper. He revealed the goal of the publication and the literature views of the union. He believed that literature is important and capable to influence the society. It was not merely an era, a place, or one's reflection, but it acted as a frontier which could affect the morality of human beings. Also, he strongly opposed to the old style of Chinese literature of setting leisure and religions as main themes. He supported the writing of life one theme in new realism literature approach. He also expressed his view on the development of Chinese literature. As the connection between the Chinese literature and the world's literature was far too little, the Chinese lofty spirit could not be shared by the rest of the world. He treated that as the Chinese biggest humiliation. Therefore, he was so devoted in the field of literature, eager to strive for a higher position of the Chinese literature in the world. Under the influence of the May 4th movement, he thought that the major responsibility of the Chinese literature was to inspire youngsters' revolutionary mission in order to strengthen the power of China. In the upcoming section, we'll be dissecting realism and exploring its intricate connections to our topic. Within the May 4th movement, he adhered the direction of realism for new literature era. He thought literature like mirror of a life. This means his writing mostly revealed the real faces of societies. Also, he put a lot of emphasis on the importance of creative living. During his long composing and researching career, he showed a fully comprehensive realism of literature. He thought that literature must contribute to life. We need the blood of literature, tears of literature. Both of them will become the trend of Chinese literature. The writing consists of not only blood and tears, but also consists of literature. The blood and tears experience and feeling of author are aesthetic for success in writing. Literature should consist of the highest ideal of the author, which form the soul of the article, in order to make it meaningful to the readers and the whole of society. Brace yourselves for the next chapter, where we'll be dissecting classical literature. Starting from the late Zheng was teaching Chinese literature history in universities. At that time, he did much in making research in Chinese classical writing. For example, he used his pen name, Bao Fun, to write Wenxue in the novel Monthly. Also, he finished editing the history of the Chinese literature in 1930. Brace yourself for an enlightening exploration of Romanticism as we dive into its profound implications. Zheng put heavy emphasis on emotional elements in literature, highlighting its importance in distinguishing between literature and science. He advocated that literature functions to instill a passion in the reader's heart. One example was the historical novel Arrest of the Fire Stealer. Moving ahead, let's uncover the hidden gems within academic and discover their significance. Zhongzhou Dai Mu Kuochuanji selected ancient Chinese woodcuts Wenzu Daogang outline of literature Chotu Ben Zhongzhou Wenzushi illustrated history of Chinese literature Zhongzhou Su Wenzushi history of Chinese popular literature Zhongzhou Wenzu Lunji essays on Chinese literature Igu Wenzushi brief history of Russian literature Goloji Rikitsk City Shuhuok City on books Zheng Zhenduo Wenji collected works of Zheng Zhenduo Tanjin Ping Meisha on Plum in the Golden Vase Bionji Fangs and Yu Bionji Jihua editing, policy and plan. As we progress through this video, let's shift our attention towards novels and uncover its hidden depths. Rest of the Fire Stealer Gu Gong Tang Jia Ting De Gu Shi. As we enter this new phase, let's analyze prose from different angles and evaluate its significance. He wrote more than 20 prose texts, and the following are some of the examples. Shenzongzi Jihei Yanbi Shuhua Tongshen Shilibi Maokatu Xingri Diary of Travels in Europe Zuihi Graoyi Jihua. With that being said, let's now move on to magazines and newspapers. Xin Shehui News Society Children's World Xiju Drama Jiguo Jionjian Zhaokan Novel Monthly Xinu Bao Shishi Xinba Current Events Newspaper Zhuangriba. In this part of the video, we'll be diving deep into Chief Editor and unraveling its profound impact. Shiji Wenku The World's Library Xingji Henjian Jingji Tonjian. Get ready to uncover the mysteries surrounding translation works as we navigate its intriguing terrain. The story of Love Strabed the Russian War Collections Grey Horse the Indian Fable Heroes from Greek and Roman Mythology Greek Mythology The History of Lena Fox. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel.